Hi guys, so I'm going to start out with a Medicine Heart Oracle, and it is number 22, Huye, or Huye, I don't know, I'm probably doing that wrong, but I don't know if you noticed, but like all my oracles are either a 3 when you combine the numbers, when I break it down, or they're 4. So maybe 34 means something to you, or maybe something like 43 means something to you, or maybe 3s or 4s in some type of combination. So the summary of Huye in this book is you are doing better, having traveled further, and are getting closer than you realize. Though you may not see the evidence of it, your steady application of will and intention is coalescing into liberating potency. You shall have your sacred outcome, but you must submit to the greater wisdom of universal cycles and divine timing. You do not need to react or rush. Keep your mind open and relax into the process. There's no need to tire yourself with rumination or what has been or what may come. Habitual thoughts and compulsive behaviors can yoke the mind into stifling rigidity. Yet you are gestating a new consciousness strong enough to liberate yourself into softer, more spontaneous, and expansive presence. Give your inner work time to take shape and gather sufficient spiritual strength, at which point you will leap in to reap the rewards, feeding into new activity and accomplishing your soul's task at the opportune moment. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that she kind of talks about in here, but she kind of talks about tiger spirit. So Huye means Lord Tiger, and it's about protection, and a big part of it also is like spiritual protection. So protection from the potential negative effects of like jealousy and gossip and the things that I always like to say, when you're not a whole person, you aren't your authentic and full self, when you're not working on those areas in yourself, that's where we get those people that are, looking to validate those parts, trying to fill those parts by harming others or looking for fault in others rather than doing the inner work. It's not easy. We've all been there. I'm sure, there are parts of our lives, and there's probably times now where, we do that. But the difference is when you do that work, you kind of stop and realize where that's coming from. So anyway, so I feel like what this card is saying too is it's kind of telling you to kind of take that pause, especially with that Four of Swords over there. And parts of what I only took a few snippets, and one says, this is a natural part of the soul journey of humans, an essential step towards understanding that work with creative power of the mind. So we're kind of transforming those ideas where, it's a feeling of lack or a feeling of this person is trying to get one over on me. It's more of that stuff doesn't matter. It's about what you're doing. It's having that faith in yourself and that strength in yourself, that powerful understanding of your wholeness, so that propels you forward, and you don't have to have that anxious, rumination, like she said, of all the bad things, what could happen, what did happen, this happened in the past, and that blocks you. And again, she says in another part, it's the permission to be yourself without fear of what another may have to say about it. This is the remarkable gift of divine masculine energy. So it's having that confidence in a healing type of masculine energy. We always like to think of it as a negative thing, but it's not. That's the driven part. And that's the action part where we get, because we're clear-headed. And, a lot of times when we get into those deeper feelings, sometimes that can overwhelm us. So an unhealthy part of that is that. Just like with the masculine, an unhealthy part of that is the need to control and dominate, to fill up all those areas that we don't have, right? So I'm going to go right into the tarot. We have the Four of Swords, and right underneath it, we have Justice. Okay, so which represented in this deck, which I think is really cool, it is Ma'at. So that's, obviously the idea of justice, which is, having that understanding and wanting that balance in, good and bad, and light and dark, and, masculine and feminine. This is understanding the power in being balanced, and, having the need for justice, right? And I feel like also the Four of Swords and justice in this aspect can kind of talk about somebody who, maybe you're somebody that is going into law, or you're going into activism. With this, I like to think of it as activism in this because of the way that this is. Because you can have some unbalanced people in law too. You can have some unbalanced people in, structure, but you can have a positive and balanced calmness, which I think you need to be appropriate in those type of positions. But yeah, it talks about, being stable in your intelligence and a strong self. So I feel like this being our column of, where we're at right now, we're understanding the value of stillness as far as, not letting ourselves get lost in the crazy things that come up in our mind, right? We're able to sit with that. We're able to kind of contemplate these things and see both sides of things. And rather than rushing into it, we're able to kind of calmly see the points of all involved. However, you might be one that's a little bit more unfair than the other, but then it's understanding how to present that and to remedy that, maybe by, trying to get people to see the points of each side. So maybe this is somebody who, maybe you're looking into trying to be like an activist in a way. I know, it's crazy because I want to say probably 10 years ago, I probably would have been way more passionate than I am now, out in the political landscape. And I try not to be that way because it does drain me. But at the same time, it's so hard to see things happen to people that just don't need to happen. And it's just because, the need for power and money. And I'm not going to get too far deep into that, but you get my point. So maybe you're somebody that's like that. Maybe you're somebody that sees a way to do these things. And I feel like hugely what I'm finding in my own life is before, where I was so passionate about these type of things. And, even a few years ago, even now, I have to temper myself, because when you get lost because of your emotions, and it's so easy, it is so easy to do that when you're concerned about other people and you're worried about what these other people are going through and you feel like there's nothing you can do. So you just want to do something. You kind of lose your head a little bit, right? But I think the better action is, trying to do things smartly and not letting your emotions overtake the things and the possibilities and the ways that you can do these things in a more proper way. But also, this doesn't have to be something like that. It could also be, there's an aspect of your life where you're more able to kind of temper your emotions and kind of see things on an even level. So you kind of have more of an impact, right? If you're working on something and you're so focused on the negative parts of things, or you're so focused on whether something is fair or not, you kind of miss your point, right? You missed your point and you kind of lose track of what you're trying to do. So whether this be a relationship, a career, or whether it be something that you're working on, this can have a big impact on that as well. So with that second column, we have the King of Cups and we have the Wheel of Fortune. For this is my column of, what we need to work on. So again, I feel like this is really saying, this is a time where you could really make a big impact, and the wheel is moving in your favor, but we have to be able to maturely move with our emotions along these tides, right? I'll move with our emotions when the wheels turn, like when things happen. How are we able to not fly off the handle, but kind of see things in a more mature way emotionally? Because the King of Cups is good about, he's able to go to the depths. He's able to go down to that bottom of that wheel and come back to the top. And he does that by being balanced. And in that action and in that way of being, it gains more respect, right? You're able to get more done because people aren't reacting to your reaction. So I feel like that's what this is saying, is allowing yourself to kind of let the wheel go and find that ability that we have to really maintain our emotional maturity. And so then we have my third column, which I have the Nine of Cups, and then I have the Six of Pentacles. So for me, this feels like as my column of, what we have to work with. This is somebody who is very independent, right? This is somebody who's independent and giving. The Nine of Cups is, somebody who is getting their ultimate happiness. Like, this is fulfillment. This is, sometimes it can be overindulgence, but I don't feel like this is what it's saying, especially with the Six of Pentacles down there. The Six of Pentacles is somebody who is emotionally, giving and receiving. So a lot of times we don't realize how important it is to allow ourselves to receive. I was one of those persons, one of those people, like in my relationship. It's like sometimes it's almost kind of like you're being selfish in a way. And I'm not saying this to anybody who's being abused or anything like that, but sometimes in a dynamic you can go through these cycles over and over again with each other, that sometimes you get to a point to where it almost feels like an advantage if you can say, oh no, I'm giving. I'm the one that's doing this. I'm the one that's doing that. You know what I mean? And I don't think we always do this consciously. So if you allow yourself to receive, it not only helps you, it helps the other person. I remember hearing a quote somewhere, and I can't remember what it was about. And it was about, I can't remember what it was, older parents not letting their adult kids help them or vice versa. And it was like, whoever the receiver wasn't allowing the receiving. And that kind of took that part away from that other person. That other person was getting their fulfillment and enjoyment from helping others. And I feel like this is kind of what this is saying, is you understand what that means to get fulfillment and get, satisfaction out of helping others and receiving. And you understand that balance. Another aspect of that too is understanding that, fulfilling yourself, allowing yourself to be whole. A lot of us were taught for so many years that, you had to, suffer and, give more than you get to, earn some type of like magical reward. And that's kind of the opposite of what it really is. I feel like it's, like I said, I feel like there's a lot of times, a lot of those things when we don't have self-confidence in ourselves, when we don't have a healthy understanding and wholeness of who we are, we're not able to give and be in a way that helps others. We're not able to be cooperative because we're lopsided. We're always looking for a way to fill that. And sometimes, that's an unhealthy way of being. You're looking for, like I said, like you're trying to give, but you're giving because that, it makes you feel good. This is different. This is giving and receiving and giving to yourself as well. So when you give, you have the ability to give. You're not taking from yourself. You're taking from the overabundance that you have, right? Because you can't pour from an empty cup at all. So whether this is in a career or some type of situation in your life that you're working on, a goal, I think that it's really telling us to, taking our time a little bit to make sure that we understand that balance within ourselves. You know what I mean? Don't rush it, because a lot of that is having like the confidence in ourselves. Like with the tiger, how does a tiger hunt? A tiger like slowly stalks his prey, right? And then when he gets it, that's when he pounces, because he has that confidence in his skill, right? Along with the arrow down there. When you shoot an arrow, you're not somebody who is hastily worrying about, is it going to hit that? Because you're not going to get it. If you're anxious about it, you always see like archers kind of take a deep breath and relax. That's because you have the faith it's going to hit it, but you also have the skill. So a lot of this, I feel like, is understanding the skill that you have and the faith, to allow spirit, universe, God, whatever, to help you and give you that type of help in that way, allowing yourself to receive that divine guidance and allow yourself to receive the what you're looking for. You have to know that you're going to get it, and that's part of the receiving end, that you're worthy to get it, right? So in my last row, I have the 8 of Wands and I have the Queen of Pentacles. So the 8 of Wands, a lot of times, because 4 Wands mean that spirit. So this can a lot of times be downloads. This can be you're getting messages, right? Or you're getting something like that. A lot of times too, like in the past, like I've heard readers talk about it, like, sometimes it means that there's love coming in. It could be something passionate coming in. But I feel like this is saying that you are going to be somebody that understands that and you're able to receive it. Because the Queen of Pentacles is all about, giving and receiving. She is very comfortable because she allows herself to take care of herself. This is not a queen who goes without. She's not a selfish queen either. This is somebody who understands the give and take aspect. And she's also a very earthly queen. So I feel like that's kind of telling me that you're going to be receiving some sort of gifts or insight spiritually through your relationship with Mother Earth. That might be for somebody, not for everybody. But I don't know. That just hit me. So I feel like maybe that's what this is saying too. So whatever you're working on, maybe it is like a legal thing or something that requires you to be balanced in your mind and your heart. You know what I mean? Somebody who's not going to let something sway them, for an egotistic type of goal, but somebody who's this goal, when you achieve it, or even as you're striving for it, fulfills you in all healthy ways. You're already full, emotionally, spiritually, but also you're going to be fulfilled in like your material gains, but it doesn't create like an egotistical thing. It's being okay with receiving, knowing that that is okay, because that's a huge thing. I think we always feel like, no, I can't, I'm not allowed to do that. That needs to go to somebody else, or I'm not worthy. We're all worthy, especially if you are doing something out of, the pureness of your wholeness and really, co-creating it in such a beautiful way. Heck yeah, you deserve it. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm going to go to the 2 Herbal Astrology oracles. We have number 12 with Rose, which turns into a 3. And that is union, bliss, unconditional love, merging with the other, oneness, nourishment, and purity. But I also feel like this is a lot about you're allowing for greater love in your life. Whether this is, a career or a person, I don't see a lot of love in this card in that way, but I feel a lot of self-love. And I feel like a lot of wholeness in this. Having the strength in yourself to trust that you are on the right path and that you enjoy that path. That path is giving you that sense of security and that sense of wholeness, right? So we are able to give. But if this is a relationship, because, sometimes that's a path too, finding that connection in a balanced way. So we're not trying to take from that other person, but we're giving and receiving, right? Because that's important. But there's a lot of femininity in that. I can't say that. So there's a good balance of your feminine and your masculine side, especially with, we have the tiger over there and then we have the rose over here. So I feel like this is a good point, saying that, this is something that we have in a balanced way. So we're able to be our whole self. We're able to do whatever it is that we're doing and get that fulfillment completely. And then we go over to the arrow, which ends up being, it's number 3 as well. So like I said, maybe that means something to you. But yeah, like arrows are about trust. Like you can hit your target, but usually you have to be calm. You have to know that you're going to hit it. So it's about having the skill, but also trusting in yourself and having that understanding and that calmness about it. It's being calm in the way that, you know that you can do it. So I feel like that's important to somebody right now too, is understanding that you have that ability. So I'm just going to read the essence real quick. It says, receiving this symbol reminds you that when you are in alignment with your heart and soul, wholeness, you are on target and would soon be hitting your mark. Be true to your calling. Release attachments. Free yourself from the bondage of unbridled ambition. Now is revealed to be a moment of contact in which your intention meets material world. The arrow also symbolizes the need to set your creativity free. Okay, so remember when they said it's not unbridled ambition. This isn't like conquest. This is, and that's the thing too, like came up to me the other day and I was just thinking about it. It's like, for so long, that's been like a theme in life. It's been like, how can I get one on the other? But that's because that's what's fed to us. And we have the ability to not allow that to be fed to us, right? I mean, in hunter-gatherer times, like it was, if they had to fight like another thing, like another group, it was over survival. It wasn't because, they have something that I want, even though I'm perfectly fine. And, there's a lot of information that talks about how it really wasn't about that. It wasn't about having wars. It was about, doing the best for for nature and doing the best for the community. So, that's something to think about. I don't know. I always add these weird little things. But then we go to number 40, which equals a 4, and ginseng or the magician. So this is the master manifester with boundless energy, potential, and having that ingenuity in the resources and knowing how to use them. So I feel like this is saying, this whole thing, I feel like I kind of went off a little bit. But I feel like that this is saying that you are balanced. You know what I mean? You're in alignment. You are at a point in your life where the things that we're trying to learn, the things that we're trying to collect, whether it be like, trying to get in alignment, trying to get the knowledge, you're at a level where really it's all about, continuing on in that, but not in a rushed way, enjoying the steps along the way and knowing that it's coming your way, right? This is somebody who is whole and somebody who has the understanding of being balanced in your emotion and being balanced in your skills and having the ability to help others in that way, to see what justice is, to see what it means to be fair, right? So I hope this means something for somebody today. And if I'm all over the place, that's just how I do. And I appreciate you guys so much.